Good morning, and thank you for joining me for our midweek reflection. Last week, of course, was the week that we call Holy Week, when we reflect upon the dramatic events all leading up to the arrest and the trial and the eventual execution, and then, of course, the resurrection of Jesus. This week in the Christian calendar is the week that we know as Easter week, and so it's the time when we really celebrate that great good news that Jesus is alive, that Jesus is risen from the dead. Many years ago, the rock band Fleetwood Mac had a very popular song called Don't Stop. Don't stop thinking about tomorrow. Bill Clinton liked the song so much that when he ran for the US presidency in 1992, he made it his election anthem. I dare say we've all heard people saying things like, tomorrow is the first day of the rest of my life. And we've probably heard those things so often that they seem really rather hackneyed, quite cliched. And of course, as we go through our lives, and we all continually have disappointments of one kind or another, that notion of a kind of fresh start, of bouncing back, it becomes more and more difficult. But it's worth just thinking about what the disciples went through at the first Easter. To call it a roller coaster doesn't even begin to do justice. They'd lived through with Jesus all of his ministry, his preaching, his teaching, his healing, all the extraordinary things that they'd witnessed. And then they saw the horror, the absolute horror of his appalling suffering on the cross. But then just think about the women walking along to the tomb early on the Easter day, when they saw that Jesus really had broken forth from the tomb, that he was alive. Their world really was completely different, almost beyond understanding. When you think about the disciples who gathered in that upper room to comfort each other in their sadness, in their loss, trying to come to terms with what had happened to them. And then when they had Jesus there in front of them, alive again, that was the day when the universe changed for them. I think many of us were really struck so much last year by that lovely, kind, wise, gentle figure of Captain Sir Tom. And remember that little phrase he had as he smiled. He would say, tomorrow will be a better day. If we really take the truth of Easter seriously, if we really believe in the reality of the resurrection, then I think it's something we can take forward. Lots of us are asking the question, having been through what we've been through over this last year, and unless you actually did live through the Second World War like Captain Sir Tom, none of us really have known anything quite like it. So many of us are asking the question, can we perhaps build a kinder, a gentler, a more compassionate, a more giving world around us? And there's no reason why not. And where does that all start? Well, it has to start with me and with you. It has to start in our homes, in our communities, in the places where we live, where we work. So I like to think And I don't believe it's a naive hope either. I'd like to think maybe Captain Sir Tom, in his gentle way, was right. Maybe tomorrow really can be a better day. I'd like to read to you a poem called Roll Back the Stone by Jill Jenkins. And then afterwards we'll listen to that wonderful hymn, The Day of Resurrection. Roll back the stone. When we come running to your tomb today, Lord, dare we believe you are no longer there, that now set free from death's decaying shroud, your spirit soars exultant, spanning the universe, and in the dawn the yielding darkness heralds a new creation on the brink of birth. Shall we come boldly, hope-filled and expectant, singing our praises, shouting Alleluia, when we would cry aloud that you are risen, proclaim love's victory over pride and hatred, from the constraints of order or tradition. Roll back the stone. Shall we come warily, hesitant and cautious, longing to believe yet shadowed by our doubt? Lord, if we seek you, lifeless in the grave, and fail to find you, vibrant in the commonplace, from the echoing chambers of our unbelief, roll back the stone. Shall we stand weeping, overwhelmed by anguish, not knowing where to turn, not recognizing you? If we are fearful, lonely, or rejected, from the dank confines of our desperation, roll back the stone. Come upon us quietly, Lord, and take us by surprise. Speak our names and take our breath away. Roll back the stone. Release us from our mourning, and through the amazing encounter of this Easter day, impel us into joy.